Poe Dameron assembles Black Squadron in Poe Dameron issue 1. Alright, so first solo series for Poe Dameron in the Marvel comic book Star Wars line, if you will. And on a personal note, Poe Dameron was one of my favorite characters of Star Wars Episode 7. So it's awesome to see that he has his own comic. And this is being written by Charles Soule and with art by Phil Noto, two of my favorites. So I'm glad we had this creative team. So we start off, it's Poe and BB-8. They go exploring in a cave. Everything seems to be all right, and then a proximity mine hits it's basically attached to the ceiling of this cave, and Poe has to make a couple fast decisions, and he's forced to go out of this door that's slowly closing. So we cut to D-Car. It's the secret rebel base, where formerly Princess Leia, who is now General Organa, is talking to Poe Dameron. And she's warning him about the First Order and how they're not the Empire yet. And you don't know what I've been through. Back in the Star Wars, I was fighting the Empire, and you kids have it easy these days. Essentially, calling him out like that. She sends him on a mission to find Laura San Takara. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He knows the location. He might know the location of where to find Luke Skywalker. And, of course, this is the man that we met in the opening of Force Awakens when we first met Poe as well. So Organa sends him on that mission. But before he does that, he needs to assemble a squad because, it's always good to go in with a team. So Poe creates Black Squadron, which is created by... the members are Snap, which is a human, Care, Leuro, Jesse, and Audie, so they're all Black Squadron. And Leuro, he's like this really old like alien, and like he's been fighting he's kind of like the grizzled veteran of the squad. He's been fighting ever since Endor. And there's another guy in there who was fought at the Battle of Jakku at like the age of 17, so that's interesting. We cut back to Poe, who is flying sideways out of the door, and close call, when he discovers that there's this huge settlement in the actual caves themselves, and the center of it, there's like this glowing egg. It's like a really beautiful egg that's like sort of controlling everything. It seems like there's a bunch of wires, and there's clearly like people living in this settlement. And Poe contacts his team, telling him, status update, what's up. He gets cut off momentarily by the actual settlers themselves. They look sort of almost like high elves, if you will. They don't have the ears, but they're very like tribal clothes. And they say that they live here to watch over the egg, to protect it, and one day it'll bestow to us great, powers and what have you. So that's basically their life goal, is to live there. It holds salvation for them. So from the get-go, the settlers just don't, they don't trust Poe. So there's a little bit of distrust there. But Poe is actually trying to he asked them if they've seen Lore, the guy that he's looking for. They said that he has passed through, but he hasn't been there in a long time. And he asked where he went. It's kind of implied that she does know, but he's not going to tell, or she's not going to tell him because she doesn't trust him. BB-8, while they're talking, he discovers that there's a tracker under Poe's X-wing. The settlers think it's like a detonator, and they all start freaking out. So Poe springs into action, rolls over, starts doing some hand-to-hand combat. Doesn't shoot anyone. Doesn't critically injure anyone. But he's like, "Listen, this is a tracker. You know what that means? It means the First Order is right on our tail." And he calls up his squad, and he's like, "Listen, guys, this is what's happening. We need to get ready." And they're like, "Oh yeah, about that. The First Order, they're already here." And that's where the comic ends, with the First Order mobilizing, TIE fighters, jetpack troopers, I believe. Yeah. and they're going into the cave, and there's like this almost like this mini base floating in the sky. So yeah, that's it for Poe Dameron issue number 1. I really enjoyed it. The writing's really good. Felt in character, just like from the movie. I like Black Squadron. We just got a little taste of everyone, not a lot of character development there, but that's still the first issue. Regarding the art, there's certain, like the sequence where it's Poe talking to what's her name, General Organa. That's very nice. It's classic Phil Noto, but the rest of it is kind of like, it's like okay Phil Noto art. If you're a big fan of him, you'll know what I mean. But regardless, it's a good looking book. So it's just not the art consistency is a little bit wonky, but regardless, it's still solid. Some pages are better than others. So that's it for my review. I think I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. I actually enjoyed it. Definitely gonna keep on reading it, and you should definitely pick it up. Check it out if you like the Poe Dameron character from Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Definitely check it out. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I forgot to mention that there is a adorable backstory in the back called Sabotaged. So it's like Sabotage, but with BB in it. So BB-8 it's like a whole backstory of just BB-8 trying to get these two resistance fighters together, like to fall in love, because they like each other, but they're a little bit too chicken to admit it. So BB-8 sort of plays matchmaker, and it's adorable, and it's a different art style and different writers. So fun little backstory at the end of Poe Dameron issue number 1.